Every child deserves a parent, but there are some people who happen to be parents who shouldn't be allowed anywhere near children. In today's story, we have a mother who allowed and condoned the abuse of her young child until he met a very tragic end. She allowed her husband to verbally and physically abuse her child Logan, along with his stepson from a separate marriage. Today's story will take us to South Wales in the UK, to a village known as Sarn, which is a part of St. Bride's Minor in Bridgeton County. You're not going to find much in the village, besides maybe a post office, a supermarket, and a few independent stores stationed in the same plaza. A small community with a population of around 2,500 people. Sarn is a little over 3 miles, or 5 kilometers from the Ogmore and Llanifia River. In today's story, the Ogmore River would be used as the dumping grounds by some very sinister people, for some very sinister purposes. The following 999 call transpired in the early morning of July 31st, 2021. In the call, Angerod Williamson is totally hysterical, claiming her 5-year-old son has gone missing. She puts on quite the performance. You want to consider adjusting your volume. The soft-spokenness you're listening to now is in stark contrast to the voice you're about to hear.
Please help me, please!
Where are you?
My son's not here, my boyfriend is not here! Help
Take
me,
a breath,
please!
take a breath, because I can't understand you when you're crying. Where are you?
5 Lower Lansdowne Freddy's a song!
Lower what, sorry?
Lower Lansdowne Freddy's song saying somebody is not here!
Okay, who's not there?
My son, he's alive, he's not here!
Okay, take a breath. When did you see him last?
I don't him in the bed last night and I've just got up for my son and the other one's not here! Logan!
Okay, take a breath. He's 5 and he's gone. Can you see any
Logan! Logan!
I need you to speak to me, not just shout. I know it's really full on and it's really scary. I need you to tell me. What's his name? Is his name Logan?
Logan Williamson, please.
And he's 5. Is he 5, did you say?
He's 5, please.
Tell me what he looks like, please.
He's a little mixed race boy. He's just got his spidey pajamas on. Wearing shoes.
Okay, is anybody else there with you? Any other adults?
Yeah, my partner. He's looking out.
Right. Are any of the doors or windows open?
Doors, windows, what's open? Someone tell me what.
Take a breath. I know that this is terrifying, but right now I need you to try to breathe so I can get the information I need. Can you see?
My back gate's open,
Okay, where does the back gate lead to?
I don't know what the road's called.
That's fine. It leads onto a road as opposed to a field or anything like that, does it? Okay.
I'm running up it now, it's concrete.
Okay. What's your name?
What's up him now?
What's your name? I need to know your name a second.
I'm Harrod.
Okay, I'm Harrod. I really need you to just take a breath for a second, okay? Because you're starting to hyperventilate. I know that this is very, very scary. I need you to stay in the house. So who's run out after Logan?
My fiancé, my partner.
Your partner has. Okay. So Dad's gone out looking, yeah? What's Dad's name?
John Cole. He's stepdad, but virtually dad.
Logan Mwangi was born on March 5, 2016, to Angerod Williamson and Benjamin Mwangi. Logan was of mixed race, with his mother being white and his father of Kenyan descent. The couple didn't stay together long after Logan was born. Williamson retained custody, and Benjamin would ultimately leave them and move back to his hometown of Brentwood in Essex. Angerod Williamson was born on March 16, 1991 in Essex, and had a twin brother and a younger brother. Her father was a stockbroker, and she was given several opportunities to find success in life, and she even went to private schools. But she often would find herself getting into trouble and disappointing her family. She would have a few theft charges on her record, which actually stemmed from stealing from her own mother. In 2015, when she met Benjamin, things were looking up, and it seemed like she was finally growing up. But after Logan was born, things would unfortunately go downhill. She would go from one bad relationship to the next. After Ben left, Angerod met and married a soldier named Jordan Hunt, and they would get married. The relationship would last a couple years, but it would end, because there was a lot of domestic issues behind closed doors. Hunt would later claim that Williamson was a very loving mother, but at the same time she was very unstable, that she would overreact and tell Jordan to kill people that she was upset with. Also, he says she would fake having seizures sometimes. He says he first crossed paths with Ben when Ben was departing after spending time with Logan. Ben warned Jordan that you can't believe anything that Angerod says. Jordan was charged with assault on Angerod one time, a charge that he would deny. Jordan and Angerod divorced in 2019, and Williamson would meet another individual in that same year. His name was John Cole, and he was almost 10 years older than her. They would meet at a local pub, and John would soon get Angerod pregnant. They had a son who was born in 2020. John J. Cole was born on February 1st, 1982 in Rugby, in Warwickshire. Some would describe Angerod as an overprotective mother, maybe even overbearing. But after she met John, she seemed to allow him to treat her son Logan very poorly. John had a very short temper and a very bad attitude. His mood could flip like a light switch in an instant. He would discipline Logan by yelling at him very harshly. Neighbors and people close to the family would say that Angerod would yell at Logan quite frequently as well. Cole was a very controlling person. Logan's biological father Ben would want to spend time with his son, and John Cole would not allow this. He would forbid it, and apparently Angerod would go along with this. Cole was a former member of the National Front, which is a far-right neo-fascism political party in the UK. He has numerous convictions on his record, which would include several assaults and some involving burglary, theft, and others that were drug-related. Cole was a white supremacist, and he would make inappropriate racial comments quite a bit. With Logan being of mixed race, John would direct many racial slurs towards him. Everybody in the neighborhood was aware of John's reputation as a bigot. He didn't like black people or Asian people, or anybody that he considered different. Before John came along, Logan was a happy-go-lucky kid. Teachers and others would say that he was always smiling, but when Cole came along, Logan's sunny disposition went right out the window. Logan's grandmother Claire would later say about Logan how bright he was and he had such a thirst to learn new things. But soon Cole's abuse of Logan would kill his spirit. Grandma Claire said that Cole would call Logan Cocoa Pop. That was his nickname. One neighbor claimed that Cole would say he flat out did not like his stepson and could never love him. Another person close to the family said she witnessed John Cole forcing Logan to hold a push-up pose. This was in 2019, when Logan was only 3 years old. Logan's nose would run and he was crying with his arms shaking. Cole said that he had been a naughty boy. Logan would collapse on the ground and John would make him start all over again. The once overprotective mother who once shielded Logan from anything that could potentially hurt him defended Cole's stance on this. She would say of this, well, Logan needs to learn his lesson because his behavior has been so poor. On more than one occasion, John Cole was seen to deny Logan fast food, presumably because of his behavior. Then John would tease Logan on how good the food was and that he couldn't have any. Pretty soon, Logan was being punished all the time. He was yelled at, and he may have suffered physical abuse behind closed doors. He would shut down and withdraw from others. He looked pale and too thin, like he had lost a lot of weight. Teachers started to see a negative change in Logan, and the once upbeat lad was now just so down and quiet all the time. Child services had been called to check on the child and would find a burn on the back of Logan's neck, but they determined that he was safe to stay in the home. Later, Cole would say Angerod intentionally burned Logan with a sizzling hot teaspoon because he was quote-unquote being annoying. In 2020, Logan had broken his elbow. His mother thought that he had dislocated his arm. He had to be taken to the hospital by his mother. At first, Angerod would say the cause of the break was that he accidentally fell down the stairs, and that she tried to pop the bone back in. Later, she would admit that John Cole was the one who tried to pop the bone back in, and that John Cole's stepson Craig Mulligan had been the one to push Logan down the stairs. Craig Mulligan was born on October 2nd, 2007. He wasn't shown a lot of attention and love from his parents growing up. His father had abandoned him and would end up dying in a car crash in 2012. Him and his mother got into a whirlwind of arguments. In 2021, Mulligan's mother assaulted him, and the 13-year-old would be taken out of her custody. Although he had spent many years in and out of the foster system, this time the court would place him in the care of his stepdad, who happened to be John Cole. John had helped raise Craig, even from the young age of before he was 1 year old. And even though Craig did not get along with a lot of people, he actually did like his stepfather John. For a young adolescent, Craig Mulligan was a very violent and scary kid. He would pull his dog's legs and spray deodorant in his eyes. He would go up to a kid on a dare and squeeze his throat before taking him down to the ground. One time, he grabbed a little girl's feet to make her fall on her face on a paved road. He instigated fights all the time, and he loved to punch and kick people. He had a green belt in Muay Thai. He once told his foster mother that he was going to kill her, and her husband, and her daughter, and their dog. When she ran to complain to social services, they didn't take the complaint seriously. Craig Mulligan especially did not like his 5-year-old stepbrother, Logan, who he referred to as the 5-year-old. He made threats to others, saying, "I want to kill the 5-year-old." In January 2021, Craig would move in and get close to the young boy that he would tell people he wanted to kill. We can only imagine some of what poor Logan must have gone through. He had a stepfather who didn't like him because of his skin color. He would berate him, verbally assaulting him, and physically abusing him. And now he had his stepbrother moving in, who proclaimed his hate for him. A very violent teenager that would swing knives around for fun. The kind of person that tries to get his peers to play quote-unquote murder games. And if Craig attacked and hurt Logan, he would not get punished by John Cole, that is for sure. John would probably join in on the fun, and Logan's own mother wouldn't do anything of use to help her son. Logan was very bad off. He was soiling himself at school and developed a bad stutter. Neighbors were witnessing both of Logan's guardians yell and be nasty to him and call him a stupid bastard. In March 2021, Logan had been put on the Child Services Protection Register. Growing concerns among teachers and neighbors had got to the breaking point, and Child Services had gotten a couple of phone calls raising concerns about Logan's safety. Regular unscheduled visits started to take place, but nothing was found that would raise alarms. The caseworker would find Cole a little intimidating at first, but she would soon warm up to him. She also found the mother to be quite loving. In June 2021, Logan and his baby brother were taken off the Child Protection Register, meaning they are deemed to be safe in the home and Child Services would not check in on them anymore. 2 weeks before Logan went missing, Logan was running and shouting to say hello to some classmates who were with their mother, who was a family friend. Angarad was heard to say to Logan, "Logan, I told you to stop your fucking shouting. Everyone can fucking hear you, shut up." And then she would say to her friend, "He's being a fucking dickhead again." 1 week before Logan went missing, he had been diagnosed with COVID. He was isolating himself in his room. Craig would tell people how much he wanted to murder Logan. On July 29, 2021, John Cole and Craig Mulligan brutally attacked 5-year-old Logan, punching him in the stomach excessively and then tripping him, so he fell down hard. Angarad was aware of what they did and tried to leave the residence, but Craig Mulligan grabbed onto her, causing a scene, pleading with her not to leave. On July 30th, Craig Mulligan's social worker stopped by, but was not allowed inside due to Logan having COVID. That same night, Logan would suffer physical and verbal abuse by Cole and his mother when they tried to force him to take a bath. Logan would get smacked hard on the back of his head. He had a fear of water. His mother screamed at him to stop fucking lying. At 2:43 a.m. on July 31st, CCTV would capture Cole and Mulligan, with Logan's body slumped over Cole's shoulder. They were taking him down to discard him at the Ogmore River. Mulligan would later say that his stepdad woke him up in the middle of the night to carry garbage bags down to the river, and that he didn't know what was in the bags. Okay. A second trip would be made to get rid of Logan's damaged pajama top. It is not fully known what led up to Logan being brutally beaten to death. There was a broken stereo in the house, and it may have been blamed on Logan. But we do know that he was brutalized, sustaining 63 external injuries along with damage to his internal organs and a brain injury. Logan had suffered from blunt force trauma that he would live through for hours, and according to pathologists, his guardians would have to be aware of these injuries.
Well, I'm not allowed to see my own biological son.
I heard. Look.
He is unconscious. Why is he unconscious?
Listen, I don't know. I don't know. Right now, the best thing...
All I'm getting is answers like this. Why is no one telling me what's going on?
I don't know. Sweetheart, look.
He's
please.
my baby. What's going on?
You need to calm down. They need to do their job. Yeah?
I do. I'm not saying it's not reasonable.
If he's unconscious, he needs me. He needs
He
warm
needs the
clothes.
ambulance
He
service at the
needs
minute.
mum.
They've got blankets.
He needs his
blankets, okay.
I feel so useless, Dad.
I know.
She is completely hysterical. At one point, she even asked John what he did with her boy. Then she flip-flops later to blaming Craig Mulligan's mother, saying she must be behind this, acting like she stole her son in retaliation of the custody of Craig going to Cole and her. The police would find Logan in the Ogmore River shortly after they began their search. It was clear to them right away that he could not be saved. He was pronounced dead at the Princess of Wales Hospital a short while later. Cole, Williamson, and Mulligan would all be arrested on suspicion of murder on the same day he was found. They all tried to claim that they had no idea what happened and that he'd just gone missing, and whatever happened to him must have happened outside the house. Nobody was buying it though. The CCTV footage was used against Cole and Mulligan getting rid of the body, and it was proven that Williamson had been up all night and had to know what happened.
So, this is John, okay? Alright, John. Right, you've obviously come to speak to. What I need to tell you now, okay? 1822. I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murder of Logan.
What?
I do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention a wet question, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence, okay? The necessity for my arrest of you today is for prompt and effective investigation, to protect a vulnerable person, and to prevent the loss and secure of any additional evidence we need. Okay? Right.
Fuck no.
What? Hey, John, calm down a second. What we're going to do now, okay?
I just found out what's in it.
I know. Okay.
Why am I getting arrested?
Right, do you want to have a sit down by there a minute, please? Do you want to have a sit down by here a minute, Howard? And Howard, sit by here now. Sit down on the... Do you want to have a sit down by there a minute, right? Don't want you falling down, right? Have a sit down by there, okay?
Listen to what Vicky's going to say.
Okay. Right. You're under arrest on suspicion of murder, okay? So you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention one question, something which relates to line of court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Necessity for the arrest, okay, is to prevent loss of property, to allow a prompt and effective investigation, and to protect vulnerable persons and children, okay? We get social services, okay?
Don't take my children away!
No? Okay, it's as part of the investigation.
I haven't done anything wrong!
Okay.
Where is Logan? Where is Logan,
He's
please?
still with us at the moment. He's still in the hospital with doctors.
What happened to him?
Can't explain anything further at the moment.
Why is nobody talking to me? You're supposed to be helping find out what happened, not arresting me when I'm telling you my son.
Okay.
What is wrong with you guys? You're supposed to be helping me.
Anhad, I understand you're upset. I understand.
Is your son dead? Is your son been found in a river?
Okay, Anhad, we understand you're very upset. We've got an investigation.
I'm very upset. I've just lost my son. You're taking my other children away.
In April of 2022, all three were found guilty of murder. In June 2022, Angerod Williamson would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 28 years. John Cole would be sentenced to life with a minimum of 29 years. And now, 15-year-old Craig Mulligan was sentenced to life with a minimum of 15 years in child detention. Since this case, many have called for Child Protective to be scrutinized and an investigation to be carried out. First Prime Minister Mark Drakeford would reject calls for an independent review into child social services following Logan's demise, claiming this was an isolated incident.